What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Barton Fink. Barton Fink is a 1991 comedy drama film that was directed by Joel Coen and was written by the brotherly duo of Ethan and Joel Coen. I should also mention that this film was first requested to me by Erik Mikkelsen back on my 500 Days of Summer review that I released back on the 12th of April. Okay, so Barton Fink takes place in the early 1940s and primarily follows Barton Fink, a playwright played by John Turturro who was hired by Capitol Pictures in Hollywood to write a wrestling picture. Barton, originally from New York, moves to Hollywood where he knows absolutely no one and begins working on his wrestling picture. He lives in a hotel where he befriends his neighbor Charlie, played by John Goodman, who provides Barton with friendship and advice during his times of need where he's experiencing severe writer's block. However, even with Charlie's support, Barton struggles to meet the deadlines imposed upon him by Capitol Pictures, and the rest of the film is spent watching Barton attempt to find his groove and write a great wrestling picture, while we also watch him attempt to make some new friends in Hollywood. Okay, so once again, I didn't watch a trailer for Barton Fink. All I did was search for it on Netflix, hit my spacebar to start the movie, and watched it. No prior knowledge going in, no idea that the Coen brothers created it, nothing. And man, I was blown away. It's definitely another one of those mindfuck kind of films that you guys have been known to request. It prevents you with a lot of contextual imagery that never quite gives you a clear, definitive answer as to why it's there. The Coen brothers are pretty damn great when it comes to crafting stories that are masterfully ambiguous. Barton Fink definitely falls in this category because there are so many subtle hints dropped throughout the film that you probably won't even pay much attention to during your first watch. But when you go back and pay close attention to what the Coen brothers are showing you, you can see there's a masterful direction that's subtly weaving this story into something much bigger than what you think it is. I think Barton Fink reminded me a little bit of No Country for Old Men in terms of its ambiguity. There are certain questions that the film itself poses that will never be answered. Instead of simply giving you all the answers, the film wants you to think for yourself and fill in the gaps with your own theories and speculation based on the information you've been provided. So in other words, this is not at all a standardly crafted story by any means. This film is not going to end decisively, and the answers will not be abundantly clear, and that may not work for some. For me, it was great because, as I've stated in other videos, sometimes not having all the answers is a good thing. When there's a carefully crafted story with a deliberate attempt to leave things sort of up in the air, you can increase the engagement that people might have with your movie because they spend time after the credits roll trying to figure out exactly what happened. And that's exactly what happened for me, because there is a drastic shift that takes place around like the halfway point where this movie becomes almost something else entirely from the first half, almost like it's its own separate movie. Because to be honest, the first act to first half of the film left me sort of underwhelmed and a little bored with the story. So if you plan to watch Barton Fink based upon my recommendation, don't panic when things aren't as exciting as I made them sound in this review, because it's definitely a slow burn where the Coen brothers take a lot of time to set up Barton's motivations, his environment, and his new relationships that he's building with his co-workers and new friends. But then when you hit like the middle of Act 2 or so, things start getting increasingly bizarre, and that's when Barton Fink really hits its stride and never looks back. Generally speaking, there's one big event that happens that dramatically changes the entire course of the film and does almost a complete 180 to transition the story in a whole new direction. And that direction is exactly the direction the film needed to go in order to boost the mystery and entertainment factor by raising the stakes. But there's also something else that Barton Fink offers that you wouldn't exactly expect, and that's very strong comedy. This is a funny movie. It's not like laugh your socks off funny, but there's definitely plenty of scenes that offer quality humor that will have you chuckling at the silliness of the characters and the situations the characters are in. That's partly why this film is such a marvel, because it makes drastic tonal shifts with relative ease. It goes from drama to comedy to basically thriller, and does so without missing a beat. It's pretty remarkable in that way. What's also remarkable is how great John Turturro and John Goodman are in their roles. These two play drastically different characters, but they both bring a ton of personality to this film. I was most impressed with John Goodman because of the sheer range that he displayed over the course of the film, but John Turturro was also fantastic as the eccentric Barton Fink. I like them both for different reasons. I like Barton because he's eccentric and super entertaining, and I like Charlie because he's a good friend of Barton and supports him in his growing time of need. I think these two characters were great throughout the whole film. I previously mentioned earlier that the Coen brothers are masters of visual storytelling. Well, that definitely holds true in Barton Fink as well. This film is shot and edited beautifully and perfectly parallels whatever tone the Coens are going for at that particular point in time. The visual experience is highly adaptable, and because of this, you feel and see exactly what the Coens want you to. When they want you to laugh, things look and feel funny. When they want you to feel tense, the shots look and feel tense. When things are simply dramatic, they look and feel dramatic. It's exceptional work. But overall, as we we wrap things up, I gotta say that Barton Fink is a great movie. I was very satisfied with what I got out of this experience, and most importantly, it has lasting impact due to its ambiguous nature. Regardless though, I thought it had an exceptionally well written story, some very strong comedy, great acting, and awesome cinematography and editing. The only con I have is the first act, which is fairly slow and a little underwhelming. Regardless, the pros greatly outweigh the cons, and I'm gonna give Barton Fink a 9.5 out of 10, and definitely recommend you check this one out on Netflix if you're looking for a highly versatile movie experience that offers something that'll stick with you long after the credits roll. So have you guys seen Barton Fink yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. And also let me know your favorite Coen Brothers film. Mine would still be No Country for Old Men. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next video.